And now, live in studio, cutting through your typical media nonsense and offering you a rational and unbiased perspective on current events and life in Tampa Bay. He's a successful entrepreneur, published author, top listing agent, a real estate and finance expert that goes to bat for you every day as a consumer advocate. Your host and the consumer quarterback, Brandon Rhymes.
Yes, here we are again another day serving the Tampa Bay community as your consumer advocate. It's all about you, helping you win in any marketplace. That's the goal of our show. You're listening to the Consumer Quarterback Show, powered by the Platinum MVP team at Keller Williams Realty. Our goal is to help you with your real estate deals as well, of course. And we are excited to be here today. We've got a great lineup for you today. We got the mayor of Tarpon Springs joining us in studio today, Mayor Chris Alahouzos. Welcome in, sir.
Thank you, and thank you for having me on your show.
Hey, my pleasure. And today we're going to dive a little bit deeper into the history of Tarpon Springs, the sponge docks industry, or the sponge industry, and the Epiphany, and a lot of cool things happening in that very unique community that you have.
Thank you.
It's going to be a lot of fun.
Be glad to do that.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And my lovely wife is in studio as well, Lindsay Rhymes, Feng Shui of Tampa Bay, also team leader at Platinum MVP team at Keller Williams Realty. Welcome in.
Thank you. Yeah, excited to be here today.
Very cool. So what are you going to talk about?
We're going to talk a little bit about what's going on in the market in Pinellas County and, the differences with for sale by owners, some of the search engines that consumers are using, and just give a little bit of education to help our clients and consumers out there navigate through all of that information.
Yeah, absolutely, because it's a tricky world out there. There's a lot of misinformation, a lot of bad information, and unfortunately, not all the professionals are created equal. And there's good, better, and best in any industry. So I've seen and heard a lot of bad advice being floated out there, and unfortunately, that can cost you thousands of dollars when you're buying, selling, or investing. And as you know, I'm the owner of the Platinum MVP team at Keller Williams Realty, and I want to start off with a hot listing that we've got in Tarpon Springs, 216 North Spring Boulevard. This is a gorgeous property, large structure here, beautiful property, and the photography, again, compliments of Fabre Frameworks. They do a great job filming and doing the photography for all of our real estate listings. 216 North Spring Boulevard in Tarpon Springs, just listed with us at Platinum MVP team. Gorgeous home, and it's got the two-story, and you walk up and you have this gorgeous living area and beautiful kitchen, dark wood cabinetry, lots of upgrades. Too many upgrades to mention here on the show, but we do have opportunities for open houses going on at this property as well. So 216 North Spring Boulevard in Tarpon Springs, large backyard, room for a pool, and very close. You could actually walk to the Epiphany is what the owners tell me. So it's right around the corner, and you're able to walk to the Epiphany in Tarpon Springs. So let's jump right into it. See with the mayor, Chris Alahouzos.
Actually,
here.
I know the house very well, and I know from the time it was built, it's a beautiful house in a beautiful area. As you said, it's right in the Spring Bayou where we're celebrating the Epiphany Day.
Yeah.
You can't find a better place to have a house. It's right. It's part of the walking community in downtown, and not too far from the sponge dock. So this is a beautiful place to have.
Yeah, gorgeous. You walk down, you enjoy a nice evening in the downtown area of Tarpon Springs. So much going on over there. Where do we start?
Well, in Tarpon Springs, we have many, many activities going on. I will start that first Friday every month. We have it's a big event that is right on Tarpon Avenue in the center of Tarpon Springs, not too far from the house that you just mentioned.
Yeah.
You can actually walk there. This is you're going to see a lot of vendors, a lot of restaurants, and music everywhere on the street, so people have a lot of fun. That happens on the first Friday.
Very
and of
cool.
course, we have many other events. We have the biggest celebration that we have in Tarpon Springs is the Epiphany, as you mentioned. That comes up. It's in January 6th. We're expecting to have about 20,000 visitors in Tarpon Springs.
Wow.
So it's a big event.
That's really cool. I'm looking at the picture on our TV show version. Our show airs on Apple TV, Amazon, and Roku as well, Binge Networks. But look at the photography there. Beautiful scenery and celebrating exactly what the Epiphany. Talk to us a little bit about that.
Yeah, the Epiphany is actually symbolizes the baptism of Jesus Christ, and it's a big thing to us in our faith in the Greek Orthodox religion, and I'm sure Catholics also as well. But in Tarpon Springs, we celebrate that every year on January 6th. This year it's going to be even special because the Archbishop El Photos from New York is going to come here for the first time. He's the new Archbishop that we have replaced the Archbishop Demetrius. So we're expecting a lot of people to come to Tarpon Springs. So I encourage everybody to come. Everybody's welcome. They're going to have a great time.
Yeah, that's really cool. That's a really cool event. So actually, the kids actually dive in the water in search of...
they're young men from ages 16 to 18 years old. They're diving for to retrieve the cross, which is a big celebration for us. This event is, of course, it's a religion event, but also is very important to our local economy because, as I mentioned earlier, it brings many visitors to Tarpon Springs. So our economy benefits a lot.
Yeah, what a great area. You know, my wife and I just moved into Palm Harbor. We built on
nice.
Lake Tarpon.
Oh, good.
So we built our dream home on Lake Tarpon there. And, you know, so Palm Harbor, Tarpon Springs, you know, that whole area, just such a cute, a vibrant community. You got the water, you got access to the beaches, so many things to do there. What's some of your top?
Well, in Tarpon Springs, it's really a unique area because we have the most waterfront than any city in Pinellas County. And being that this is the oldest city in Pinellas County, we have so much history, some culture, and heritage in Tarpon Springs that we're very proud of.
Yeah, that's really cool. It's a great community. Talk to us about the sponges. What's the background on the sponge industry?
Well, the sponge industry was actually began in 1980 when a person by the name of John Chaney decided to introduce the sponge business to Tarpon Springs. He went to Key West and Bahamas. He brought some people to Tarpon Springs to do sponging, but they were using just a long pole with a hook. And they were getting a lot of sponges, but it was another person by name John Coqueris in 1905. He decided to introduce the sponge diving. To actually figure that if this guy is using the hook, they're able to get so many sponges. Can you imagine what it would be if you're actually diving in a deep water?
Yeah.
So what he did, he went to the Greek islands of Kalymnos, Chalki, and Simi. He brought 500 divers and crew members, and he started the industry here.
Wow.
And since then, it became the leading industry in Florida. It was sponges, as you know, there's not only for utility use like a washing your car and your dishes, but also they're using it for cosmetic. They'll be using it in the medical field. But years ago, they used to use it in the Air Force because at that time they used sponges for installations for the airplanes.
Wow. Okay. So yeah, that's interesting. You look at the history of these, how this all originated.
But now, though, we have a very small active sponge industry. We have about 6 or 7 active boats, but they're contributing to our tourism, which is our main industry.
Yeah, let's talk a little bit more about that. By the way, if you just joined us, I'm your host, Brandon Rhymes. We're talking with Tarpon Springs Mayor Chris Alahouzos here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. Let's talk a little bit more about the economy. What are you seeing lately, and what do you think's happening in the future as far as economics?
Our local economy is very well. You mentioned earlier about houses for sale.
Yes.
The property values has increased 6% in Tarpon Springs, which is very, very healthy economy. We just completed our budget for fiscal year 2019-2020. Our budget is $64 million, which has increased about $6 million, which is very, very good.
Wow.
Without using any emergency funds, we were able to reduce the millage, which was the property tax in Tarpon Springs, which is very, very good for the people of Tarpon Springs. But in addition to that, we have $8.8 million in the bank for our emergency situations, the emergency fund. In case, as you know, we are in the area that is prone to the hurricanes, so we better have some money on the side for anything like this happens. So we got $8.8 million. Our economy is very healthy, and we're very proud of that.
Very cool. Yeah, that's great. That's good stuff there. Now, with the the economics, everything happening, you got a holiday event schedule coming up too. Lots of fun things for people to visit that are maybe out of the state listening on our show here. If they want to come down, what are some key things that they might want to check out this holiday season?
Well, the holiday season is very, very active in Tarpon Springs. Just an example. Next week, which is a long weekend, Veterans Day, we're going to have the Sponge Ducks Seafood Festival for 3 days. Oh, wow. So that's right on the Dagonis Boulevard. You're going to have all kinds of vendors providing seafood for everybody to have, and it's going to be music, of course. December 6th, we have many events coming up. We have what we call there's no place like Tarpon Springs. Vendors again on Tarpon Avenue. It's going to be the boat parade, Christmas tree lighting, and all those things are going to happen on the same day. And of course, December 14th, we have our Christmas parade.
Oh, nice. Okay.
So Tarpon Springs is an active place. We always have an event every weekend. If it's not in downtown on Tarpon Avenue, is on the Sponge Docks on the Decanis Boulevard.
Yeah, it's awesome. We just did a book signing event over there as well at one of the local churches, and it was a good time. And especially this time of year, the humidity's down, the temperatures are nice. It's a great time to be outside enjoying what Tarpon Springs has to offer.
Yes, it is a beautiful place to be and visit during the holidays, especially this time of the year. Like you said, it's nice and cool.
Yeah.
And you can actually walk from downtown to the Sponge Docks or from the Sponge Docks to the downtown. And we want to be a walking community where people can actually get out and enjoy themselves.
Yeah, absolutely. And we're members of Freedom Boat Club as well. So we take the boats out there, right there next to Captain Jack's, and
nice.
Kind of cruise
Very
out
nice.
for the day, go hang out on some of the private islands, and just enjoy our time in Tampa Bay. One of the best places to be, of course, in real estate as well. We look at a lot of times when you hear these national numbers, there's some pessimistic opinions out there on a national level with the shift starting to happen with California, New York, and some different areas. But here in Tampa Bay, I believe that we are insulated from that. Beautiful communities like Tarpon Springs, Palm Harbor, St. Pete, Clearwater, of course, Tampa, the entire region. And we've had all the local mayors on the show as well. Tampa Mayor Buckhorn. We've had Castor on the show, St. Pete Mayor Kreisman, and Clearwater Mayor Creticus. And what I love about that, at least from what I've found there, is that we all work together as local mayors to bring industries, bring jobs, bring events here, football, sporting events, all types of reasons why people want to be in Tampa Bay.
I'm glad that you said that, because every month we have meetings with the local mayors in Pinellas, in North Pinellas, and we actually compare notes and give each other advice on what we should do and what works in their city. So that way we don't have to reinvent the wheel.
Yeah, that's right. The old mastermind model, right?
Yeah.
Model experts, model what's working.
So we're working good together.
Yeah, that's great. It seems like the local politics. I know there's a TEDx talk said why mayors should run the world or something along those lines. Because if it was more local control in politics versus what we see, with the polarization a lot of times in the national politics and what's going on in Washington D.C., it seems like a night and day difference.
Yes.
with local.
In Tarpon Springs is not partisan, so
Yeah.
it really makes no difference what you believe, as long as you believe for the good of Tarpon Springs and the people of Tarpon Springs. That's what makes Tarpon Springs so unique.
Yeah, I love it. Great place to hang out, great place to go visit, and great holiday season coming up. The website I see is ctfls.us. Is that right?
Yes, and also like to say that we have so many good restaurants in Tarpon Springs. Not only in downtown on Tarpon Avenue, which is so many good restaurants, but also we got the Decanis Boulevard, which is the Sponge Docks. Many Greek restaurants there, and they also have Greek music on the weekend. So
Very
you
nice.
go there if you like to see the belly dancer, which is very traditional for the Greek Americans. It's there.
Yeah. Awesome. All right. Well, stay with us here. When we come back, more from our expert contributors. Going to bring Lindsay Rhymes as well into the conversation as well. Talk a little bit about real estate, some of the local trends happening here in Tampa Bay, and more from Mayor Chris Alahouzos here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. Stay with us. Do not touch that dial. We have a feel-good story of the day coming at you as well in our feel-good segment. High school football player prays for opponents whose mom is battling cancer. So stay with us right here on the Consumer Quarterback Show, consumerqb.com.
Thanks for listening to my daddy's show. For more information, go to consumerqb.com.
To get in touch with Brandon, call 813-670-7372. Online at consumerqb.com.
All right, this week we're going to talk about something exciting as usual.
We always have something exciting.
Yes, we do.
At least it's exciting to us.
But this is a question that comes up.
TV, hey, it is Friday night. We're not here. Yes, we pre-recorded once again because WeBeam TV is working over in Tampa with Dan's Star.
62 who knew. I almost said Professional Mortgage Alliance Joe's Bar and Grill, but actually it's our 39th week of 62 who knew.
We're at the wonderful steampunk event at the Verizon Event Center here in 2019. I think it's still August, right? Yeah. Woo! Can't remember anymore.
To be able to help businesses to do that part of it. But it's just been a couple of years.
Well, and I've taken the business card files from our business cards and changed them.
Entrepreneurs and professionals of Tampa Bay, welcome to your hour for getting the information, the tools, and the connections
Ian
for
Beckles on Radio Influence.
Or you say left hand white, and then they catch the left hand white. What it does, it helps you quick with hand-eye coordination. Yeah.
Well, that's kind
As your super connector, we want to introduce you to our 50-plus show partners. We got over 80 categories of expert contributor advice here on the Consumer Quarterback Show, and we want to.
That's where we disagree, but that's okay.
I said nonviolent.
That's okay.
Because, you know, we're one of the only states that don't give them back their rights. I've got Jamie Limbaugh. He is from the Next Step Image. I love that movie because you were telling me earlier.
For the type of republic we actually are is actually very correct. Yet politicians and regular people use these words interchangeably, even though technically they are very different.
you're an overdoer, overachiever, people pleaser, we tend to neglect ourselves. Mm-hmm. And even as Sisters Connected here, you know, with Women Unscripted, I know.
You're listening to the consumer quarterback, Brandon Rhymes, cutting through your typical media nonsense and offering you a rational and unbiased perspective on current events and life in Tampa Bay. Online at consumerqb.com.
All right, welcome back. Thanks for sticking with us. Brandon Rhymes here, your host of the Consumer Quarterback Show, powered by the Platinum MVP team at Keller Williams Realty. We're bringing on agents as well. We're hiring a select few real estate agents. If you're looking to join a team, we'd love to talk to you. Check us out online at consumerqb.com. You can see links there to all of our expert contributors, by the way, at consumerqb.com. And Replenish IV Solutions. This segment is brought to you by Replenish IV Solutions, the science of nutritional balance. Restore, reinvigorate, and revive. And say hello to Steve and Lisa Gunnan over at Replenish IV Solutions. And I just stopped by and visited with them and got the proverbial oil change, so to speak. So they dropped the vitamins in there, all the the B's, the C's, the magnesium, the calcium, lots of different types of opportunities here. Cancer prevention, cell regenerator, hydration, energy boost, inflammation. They got one called Long Night Out. I think we've all had one of those in the past at some time, but energy boosters, refreshers, revitalize. So you're getting directly into your bloodstream vitamins and nutrients that you need for your body to perform at optimal conditions here. So Replenish IV Solutions, longtime friends of the Consumer Quarterback Show. They're located on Gandy Boulevard. They also have a location up in Carrollwood as well, just north of Bears and Del Mabry. Say hello to Steve and Lisa Gunnan. Let them know the Real Estate Quarterback sent you. Take them up on offers that they have just by mentioning that you're a fan of the Consumer Quarterback Show. All right, in studio today, we got Mayor of Tarpon Springs, Chris Alahouzos in studio, Lindsay Rhymes as well, Feng Shui of Tampa Bay, and also Platinum MVP team. She's a team leader, productivity coach on our team. So I wanted to open it up to Lindsay and talk. So you're going to talk a little bit about some of the stats going on?
Yeah, I was looking at some of the stats, and it's interesting. You know, we deal with a lot of for sale by owners. We chat with people who are trying to do it on their own, sell their property on their own. And in 2017, only 8% of the for sale by owners actually sold.
Huh.
Yeah, and that number in 2018 went to 7%. And out of those houses that actually sold, 40% of those houses sold because the seller knew the buyer.
Yeah.
You know, it's interesting because you think, okay, well, you know, maybe I want to save some money doing it myself. But when you actually look at the numbers, it's anywhere between $60,000 to $65,000 difference when you're working with a licensed agent based off of the data, based off of the stats. So if you're doing a traditional 6% listing, and you're missing out on $60,000 to $65,000, I mean, you're making 45 grand just by working with an agent, right?
Yeah, well, the facts are that 9 out of 10 buyers start their search with a realtor. They know it's a pretty common knowledge out there that a buyer goes to a realtor. They don't have to pay that buyer's agent to work with them.
Right.
So they go with them, and then the buyer agent at that point is kind of in the driver's seat, and they're not going to show it for sale by owner because will they get paid a commission? If so, is it a full 3%, or are they trying to nickel and dime down to a 2%? That's what you see sometimes.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of benefits to working with a professional real estate agent. I mean, we're trained. You know, we're always taking certifications. We're going to classes. We're looking at what's going on in the market, and we know tricks and we know things that are going to, you know, amplify. You know, what the goal is, getting there faster, you know, getting more money, getting better deals for our clients. And we really, I feel like it's an education thing for real estate agents, because the amount of transactions that most people do in their lifetime for real estate is maybe 1 or 2. You know, we're doing hundreds of transactions over the course of our career, and we've got a lot of information that we can help people with that they wouldn't think about otherwise. You know, they don't have the specialized knowledge. They don't have the certifications. They don't have the classes, right? And I think that that's the job of a real estate agent, is to really educate their client, to walk them through it, to help them, you know, think of things in a different way, and really get the best price for their property, or get them the best price for the property they want to buy.
Yeah. So the idea too is, like, we've had Ray Hall on the show, Ray Hall Appraisals, and he's talked a lot of times, and I see for sale by owners, especially on the listing side, is where I focus on. We've got about 40 current listings right now. But when you look at it, a lot of times these for sale by owners are $100,000, $200,000 overpriced, especially, you know, that's a $700,000 example of a home that I saw. But on the buying side, a realtor is going to be able to help you make the comparables, you know, to present to the seller to say, hey, you know, how do you justify the sales price when these houses here sold for $185 a square foot and you're asking $208 per square foot? How do you justify that?
Yeah, pricing is really important, because if you don't price your property correctly, it's going to sit there and you're not going to sell it. And it's interesting because when you think about the consumer who's searching for a property, they're searching in a range. They're searching for 200 to 300,000, or they're searching from 250 to 350. And if you don't know pricing strategy, you might price your property at 299 instead of 300,000. You're going to get a lot less views, because if you were at a 300,000, you're going to show up in both of those searches. But if you price it at 299, you're missing out on 50% of the buyers that might want to actually see your property. And you don't know stuff like that because you're not in the industry. And so when you work with a professional, you're going to get those tips and tricks, and it's all about exposure, right?
Sure, absolutely. On the listing side, especially. So I'm going to flash some stats up here, but this is the Pinellas County residential listings as of last month. So if you look at the lowest number in August, in the end of the August, there was 4,883 properties for sale in terms of inventory, residential inventory. That's the lowest number in the last 6 years in Pinellas County. So that's pretty powerful when you think about that. Now, we went up a little bit to 4,913 in September, but then when you look at what actually sold down here, 1,779 properties in all of Pinellas County sold. So that is up 6.7% year over year, 38.2% absorption rate, 2.76 months of supply. So it equals it's a strong seller's market. So it's a strong seller's market right now. I want to bring the mayor back into the conversation on the real estate side. So you mentioned property values are up in Tarpon Springs. The most amount of homes and land that is waterfront as well in all of Pinellas County. That's pretty cool.
Yes, as you know, in Pinellas County, we really don't have that much land available to build.
Exactly.
So whatever, it's a great opportunity now for people to buy. it was mentioned earlier about selling by owner. I don't like to discourage anyone for selling his own property, but it makes sense to go to work with an agent, because the agent is going to make sure that you have the market value, the proper value of your house, but also he's the person that he's the expert. He's going to guide you to make sure that the property is actually a good quality, that he will have the right inspections done to make sure that you don't have any problems later. So I think it's a lot of benefit to work with an agent.
Yeah, absolutely. When you look at on the buying side, it costs you nothing to work with a realtor, and a lot of times there's incentive programs there. Like for example, with us, my dad was in the military, an MP. We work with veterans, so any veteran that we do a deal with, either on the buying side or the listing side, we're offering 1/4 to 1/2 point back to them. There's different things like that we do to help them. But we got about 30 seconds left. Parting words of wisdom or words of advice, Mayor?
What I like to say is that I am very fortunate, and I'm very grateful that you invited me to come here to your Consumer Quarterback Show. And I'd like to invite everyone to come to Tarpon Springs to join our beautiful city and share the history, the culture, and the heritage that we cherish.
Excellent. It's my pleasure, and thanks for coming in as well.
Thank you.
And thank you, Lindsay, as well. Great show here going so far. And when we come back, we've got more of our expert contributors here in studio. We're going to have a feel-good story of the day as well. Make sure you follow us online at Brandon Rhymes 1 on Instagram and Twitter. The Consumer Quarterback Show page is on Facebook, and link up with us on LinkedIn. We'd love to connect there. And we'll see you right after this short break. Don't go anywhere.
Hey, I'm Ken Shamrock, and you're here with Consumer Quarterback Show. And I say, Brandon Rhymes, knock out your competition.
To get in touch with Brandon, call 813-670-7372. Online at consumerqb.com.
All right, this week we're going to talk about something exciting as usual.
We always have something exciting.
Yes, we do.
At least it's exciting to us.
But this is a question that comes up. TV, hey, it is Friday night. We're not here. Yes, we pre-recorded once again because WeBeam TV is working over in Tampa with Dancing with the Stars.
The 62 Who Knew. I almost said Professional Mortgage Alliance Joe's Bar and Grill, but actually it's our 39th week. 62 Who Knew.
We're at the wonderful steampunk event at the Verizon Event Center here in 2019. I think it's still August, right? Yeah. Woo! Can't remember
Yes.
To be able to help businesses to do that part of it. But it's just been a couple of years.
Well, and I've taken the business card files from our business cards and changed them.
Entrepreneurs and professionals of Tampa Bay, welcome to your hour for getting the information, the tools, and the connections
Ian
for
Beckles on Radio Influence.
Or you say left hand white, and then they catch the left hand white. What it does, it helps you quick with hand-eye coordination. Yeah.
Well, that's kind
As your super connector, we want to introduce you to our 50+ show partners. We got over 80 categories of expert contributor advice here on the Consumer Quarterback Show, and we want to.
That's where we disagree, but that's okay.
I said nonviolent.
That's okay.
Because, we're one of the only states that don't give them back the right. Got Jamie Limbaugh. He is from the Next Step Image. I love that name because you were telling me earlier.
For the type of republic we actually are is actually very correct. Yet politicians and regular people use these words interchangeably, even though technically they are very different.
If you're an overdoer, overachiever, people pleaser, we tend to neglect ourselves. And even as Sisters Connected here, with Women Unscripted, I know.
You're listening to the consumer quarterback, Brandon Rhymes, online at consumerqb.com. Brandon is Tampa Bay's #1 consumer advocate for real estate and financial advice. Call Brandon today at 813-670-7372.
And we're back. Brandon Rhymes here, your host of the Consumer Quarterback Show, powered by the Platinum MVP team at Keller Williams Realty. This segment is brought to you by Taps Restaurant, a local gastropub and burger bar here in Tampa Bay at their International Plaza on Bay Street, the official restaurant partner of the Consumer Quarterback Show. Taps Burger Bar and Gastropub, 2223 North West Shore Boulevard. Excellent food and just a great ambiance, very friendly staff, and what a cool environment as well. They kind of open up the doors there and you get the breeze. You see all the folks walking by, do some people watching, and also you can bring your furry friends as well. So it's one of these restaurants where you're allowed to bring your dogs. Taps Restaurant, the official restaurant partner of the Consumer Quarterback Show. And we are back here in studio. Our goal is to help you win in any marketplace as your consumer advocate, also as a top real estate agent in the U.S., top 1% realtor. I'd like to talk about a couple of hot listings here. 861 Mandalay Avenue on Clearwater Beach. This is a gorgeous opportunity to own a beach house for $699,000 is the asking price below the comparables here in Tampa Bay. 861 Mandalay Avenue on the beach is literally 200 steps away from the sugar sands and dolphin-filled waters of beautiful Clearwater Beach. Great opportunities to own real estate here in Tampa Bay. 2-bedroom, 2-bath, but there's actually a 3rd bedroom in the back. We can't technically count it, though, because of the MLS rules, but it is a 3-bedroom, 2-bath. Mandalay Avenue, Clearwater Beach, hot real estate property listing, PlatinumMVPteam.com. All right, so let's welcome in our expert contributors for this segment. We've got Rachel Wright, and she's the Director of Staff Education and Patient Care Volunteers. Welcome in, Rachel.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here today with Veterans Day being on Monday. I hope we can share some ways that the We Honor Veterans program helps our veterans at end of life.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
And you guys are doing great work over there. So we'll dive deeper into that. Lindsay Cole, welcome back.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here to talk about, like Rachel said, the We Honor Veterans program. It's a partnership with the National Hospice and Palliative Care Organization and something that's just great for veterans.
Yeah, that's really cool. You know, the veterans, they serve our country. There's, putting it all on the line, literally. And, they come back and then they have all these questions, concerns. They've got the PTSD in some cases. There's financial services to worry about. So we help them with the financial services with the Consumer Quarterback Show and our, 80 plus categories of expert contributors. But you guys are helping them with something more close to home, and that's their personal health. So there's a lot there. So you talk about the Veterans Program. Let's dive into it. What is the Veterans Program?
So the program we're referring to is called the We Honor Veterans program. That is a program that's in partnership with the National Hospice and Palliative Care Organization. They've teamed up with the Veterans Administration to develop this program that hospices can participate in. It's really aimed to educate the hospice staff on the unique needs that the veterans have at the end of life. You can get up to 4 levels of stars, and we have all 4 stars at our hospice.
Wow, awesome. Congratulations.
Thank
So
you.
4 stars at the hospice there. That's really neat. And so when you think about it, let's also maybe just take a step back for some of our first time listeners. Maybe they haven't heard you guys on the show before. What is hospice? What is palliative care? What are these terms?
Hospice is actually a service for those folks at end of life. It comes in, it provides a holistic approach. It's an interdisciplinary team composed of nursing, social work services, chaplain or spiritual care services that provides care where the patient lives. It could be in their home, it could be in an assisted living facility, and we also have a inpatient unit for higher level needs. It's a short-term stay.
Okay. Yeah. And then you got the palliative care, the hospice care, and then the at-home health care as well.
Yes. We just added home health care this past spring, so we're very excited to have home health as one of our business lines now.
Yeah. Now, so you're also pairing staff members with volunteers through this type of a program and also helping the veterans with that. Let's talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, at times this can create a sense of camaraderie between the patient, staff, and volunteers. And the patient often feels that the shared similar experiences and they help them better understand their past experiences. So you get a lot of reminiscing and it increases communication. It's really great for the veterans to be able to share their stories.
Yeah, exactly. Because I think that's a form of therapy in itself. itself, being able to talk about it, get it off their chest, out of their minds, kind of like brain dumping, get it out of my mind, get it onto paper. A lot of times if you're business planning, for example. But when you think about the families too, a lot of times the families, they're suffering through it. And a lot of times it's that one person, that Aunt Louise or that Aunt so-and-so, they're in the driver's seat taking care of these patients. So that's, again, another benefit of Gulfside Healthcare Services.
Definitely.
As well, coming in and helping them, with that. So, let's talk about a little bit about the families and maybe even like a success story, something where you've seen, the families being helped and people kind of coming together and helping out the family member that's hurt.
Well, with the families and caregivers, they often participate in honoring the patients with the pinning ceremonies. It's a really beautiful ceremony where our staff will participate, as well as volunteers and the patient's family and friends. It's often one of the only times that they are recognized for their service. It's a very touching ceremony, and it leaves a special memory for everybody to hold on to.
Yeah, seeing their loved ones thanked for their service, that's a big one.
Often they'll video the ceremony or take pictures of it, so it leaves them like with a memory.
Yeah.
And it can be very touching. There's times where maybe the veterans are nonverbal, but you see them light up when we're, either singing the national anthem or saying the pledge. You'll see them light up and try to speak or squeeze a hand. So that's very touching for the family.
Yeah, I imagine it is. And if you just joined us, I'm your host, Brandon Rhymes. We're talking with Rachel Wright and Lindsay Cole from Gulfside Healthcare Services here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. And we'd love for you to engage with us. If there's any questions, comments that you may have, reach out to our hotline. Give us a call or a text at 813-670-7372. If you're thinking about, how can I utilize home health care or hospice, the palliative care that they offer at Gulfside Healthcare Services, just reach out, call or text 813-670-7372, and we'll put you right in touch with their team as well. And consumerqb.com is your ultimate resource as well. You can see all of our expert contributors on the website at consumerqb.com. So can other veterans volunteer to help in the program as well? That's
Absolutely. We encourage veterans who want to give back or work with our veteran hospice patients to go ahead and apply to volunteer. We do have our volunteer application online. They can complete that online at our website, www.gulfside.org, or they could contact the volunteer department at our main number, which is 1-800-561-4883.
All right, 4883. So 800-561-4883. That's the main number. Online, gulfside.org is the website as well. So donations, you're looking for donations as well. Our community might want to donate as well.
Yep, absolutely.
That's something that they can do.
People can make donations specifically to the veterans at Gulfside, and you can donate directly on our website, which Rachel shared was gulfside.org, or you can fill out a contact form, and we would love to contact you and see where you would want your donation to go to.
I like it. So, Rachel, you're the Director of Staff Education and Patient Care Volunteers.
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about specifically what's your day-to-day like? What are you doing?
Day-to-day could involve a lot of different things. Right now we have orientation for all of our new staff coming in, so we're orienting them to not only our agency policies and the way we operate, but also discipline specific, helping nurses, getting them ready to be out in the field. It could be social workers, chaplains, financial staff. We also have thrift stores, so our thrift store staff come in, so that's a big part of what we do. For our patient care volunteer side, we're matching volunteers with families to meet the needs. Maybe a caregiver needs to go grocery shopping. So they're saying, could someone come sit with my dad for 3 hours so I can get out of the house and get a reprieve? So we're also talking to the field staff, trying to match up volunteers and families to get a good match there.
Yeah, that's important because a lot of times, again, it's all on them. It's that one caretaker. They can hardly get out of the house. Their family's out of state, or there's all kinds of scenarios that could play out. But that's important so they can have some time for them to go grocery shopping, get a massage, knows, whatever they want to do to get out of the house, right?
Yep, and we'll also have volunteers go out, maybe play cards, do things just to provide companionship. Some patients do live alone, or if they just want some interaction, and that's a lot where the veteran volunteers can come and talk to our veteran patients about, specific things, share their stories. They really like that.
Yeah, I think especially just allowing them to, talk about what they've been through and the things that they want to share, and playing a card game, good old fashioned card game. That's fun.
Yeah.
getting out there and having fun with them.
Yes, brings back good memories for them too.
Bringing it down to just a human level, right?
Yes,
People,
absolutely.
we all want to have that mutual feeling of acceptance and to be social. I think in a lot of cases when people are they're isolated and they're by themselves and for 8 hours, 12 hours a day, and or more, that's a challenging situation in itself.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And that's with the We Honor Veterans program. We also try to pair up veterans with veterans, so veteran volunteers with veteran patients. So this will be another way that they can reminisce and communicate with their volunteers.
Now, is the website wehonorveterans.org? Is
That's the program website. So
Okay.
that's a nationwide program. So hospices across the nation can participate. So for more information about that program specifically,
Okay.
I believe that is the website.
Okay. Yeah, so we can put that up on our screen there. Yeah, there's if you're watching our TV show version or maybe on YouTube, Apple TV, Amazon, and Roku, you see us here. Search up Binge Networks and you'll find us on those smart television outlets. And of course, Gulfside Healthcare Services here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. More from our expert contributors here in studio. We've got Rachel Wright and Lindsay Cole here in studio on the Consumer Quarterback Show. And when we come back, we're going to wrap it up with our lightning round tips, top tips, nuggets of advice, parting words of wisdom, and our feel-good story of the day. High school football player prays for opponent whose mom is battling cancer. Find out about that and more from our expert contributors after this short break. Don't go anywhere. We'll be.
This is Chris Voss, former FBI lead hostage negotiator and owner of the Black Swan Group, and you're listening to Consumer Quarterback Show hosted by my friend Brandon Wright.
To get in touch with Brandon, call 813-670-7372. Online at consumerqb.com. Ian Beck.
All right, this week we're going to talk about something exciting as usual.
We always have something exciting.
Yes, we do.
At least it's exciting to us.
But this is a question that comes up. TV, hey, it is Friday night. We're not here. Yes, we pre-recorded once again because WeBeam TV is working over in Tampa with Dancing with the Stars.
62 Who Knew. I almost said Professional Mortgage Alliance, Joe's Bar and Grill. But actually, it's our 39th week. 62 Who Knew.
We're at the wonderful steampunk event at the Verizon Event Center here in 2019. I think it's still August, right? Yeah. Woo!
To be able to help businesses to do that part of it. But it's just been a couple years.
Well, and I've taken the business card files from our business cards and
Entrepreneurs and professionals of Tampa Bay, welcome to your hour for getting the information, the tools, and the connections
Ian
for
Beckles on Radio Influence.
Or you say left hand white, and then they catch the left hand white. What it does, it helps you quick with hand-eye coordination. Yeah.
Well, that's kind
As your super connector, we want to introduce you to our 50-plus show partners. We got over 80 categories of expert contributor advice here on the Consumer Quarterback Show, and we want to.
That's where we disagree, but that's okay.
I said nonviolent.
That's okay.
Because, we're one of the only states that don't give them back the right. We've got Jamie Limbaugh. He is from the Next Step Image. I love that name because you were telling me earlier.
For the type of republic we actually are is actually very correct. Yet politicians and regular people use these words interchangeably, even though technically they are very different.
If you're an overdoer, overachiever, people pleaser, we tend to neglect ourselves. And even as Sisters Connected here, with Women Unscripted, I know.
You're listening to the consumer quarterback, Brandon Rhymes, cutting through your typical media nonsense and offering you a rational and unbiased perspective on current events and life in Tampa Bay. Online at consumerqb.com.
And we're back. Brandon Rhymes here. I'm your host of the Consumer Quarterback Show, published author and professional speaker. Check out our book on Amazon, Become the MVP in Your Industry by Surfing the Radio Waves. And we'd love to hear from you on that, see how that may have impact your life. And it's part of our model with our radio and TV show with our real estate team at Keller Williams Realty, where we feature our real estate properties live on air to help our sellers maximize the profits on the sale of their real estate properties. And we've got a hot property here in Tampa, 5822 Schooner Way in Tampa. This is a great opportunity. Waterfront property, Bayport community, which is 5 minutes from the airport, and you have bay access as well into Upper Tampa Bay. So you can boat to dinner at 5822 Schooner Way in Tampa. Waterfront property, boat dock, pool, huge lanai area as well, oversized lanai, freshwater canal that leads directly out into the bay, and it's completely renovated in a beautiful property here in Tampa Bay. 4 bedrooms, 2.5 bath, fully updated property here in Tampa Bay. Hot real estate property listings, PlatinumMVPTeam.com. Also, 216 North Spring Boulevard in Tarpon Springs. Now, this is a gorgeous property. We talked about it with the mayor, and he said he actually knew that neighborhood and knew the property. He saw it getting built. This is a 2-story home, large property here, square footage, perfect for a nice sized family. You got room in the backyard for a pool at 216 North Spring Boulevard in Tarpon Springs. Gorgeous kitchen as well, dark wood cabinetry, beautiful wood flooring throughout, and the bathrooms are large, and it's just a great opportunity to own real estate here in Tampa Bay. And the bottom floor of the home is wide open as well. So if you have a home-based business or you have a gym you want to operate out of your home, man, what an awesome opportunity. Check out all of our real estate properties at PlatinumMVPTeam.com.
Somewhere sunny and 75.
All right, every day we're going to tell you something positive here in our feel-good story of the day. We're going to tell you something good right now.
Tell me something good.
Okay, so we got a high school football player who prays for an opponent whose mom is battling cancer. A photo of 2 high school football players in Texas praying together after the game is touching the hearts across the country. Gage Smith approached opponent Ty Jordan, whose mother is battling cancer. I heard about your mother. I'm sorry. I want to pray with you, Smith said to Jordan. Then the two took a knee together and prayed. Quote, I just had a moment with him praying for his mom, for his family, Smith said. And the high school senior said that moment was not thinking about the score, just wanted to show compassion. And quote, when you're playing the game, you're playing to win when the other team is the enemy. But afterward, you still have to respect for the opponent, Smith said. And quote, football brings together people together in so many different ways. And that was just one of the examples of it tonight. So feel good story of the day. Competitors on the field, but they're praying for each other after the game. So that's cool. All right, so we got our expert contributors here in studio today. We got Rachel Wright and also Lindsay Cole from Gulfside Healthcare Services. All right, so let's talk a little bit about some of the other things that you guys are doing. Let's do a little recap here too. So we're talking about home health care, palliative care, and hospice. So I think a lot of people have heard of hospice. It's kind of the end of life type scenario. Home health care sounds kind of self-explanatory. We're going to take care of you or the patient in the home. And then palliative care, what exactly is that again?
Palliative care is where you have a symptom that's uncontrolled or needs palliation.
Okay.
So you may have uncontrolled pain, severe shortness of breath, ongoing migraines, different issues like that, and you wouldn't be eligible for hospice yet, but the palliative doctors can help you manage your symptoms with different medication or different treatment plans.
Got it.
So it's to palliate your symptoms.
Okay, cool. All right, tell us more about the pinning ceremonies and your team is holding, especially for veterans, since today is Veterans Day. You know, how come some request to have someone to their business or community? Tell us about that.
Our team is holding multiple pinning ceremonies in different locations and areas. We have multiple scheduled for some nursing homes and assisted living facilities. It's a very special event where they're acknowledged not only by our team, but also by staff in the facility, other residents, and their families and friends. It's a wonderful celebration of their services. Other ceremonies are held at community events where attendees can be recognized as part of the presentation. And if there's interest in more pinning ceremonies, please contact us at our main number, 1-800-561-4883.
Awesome. 800-561-4883. Gulfside.org is the website as well. And any success stories come to mind? I know, over the years there's people that come through the system. There's success stories. We've also talked about the chaplain that's on staff, and he had some interesting stories as well, kind of dealing in that situation. Anything come to mind at all?
I can think of a few different stories. Hospice is really unique. Like I said, we take a holistic approach. So we're looking at not just the illness, but how it affects somebody's emotional health and spiritual health. In our hospice, we have a lot of different caring programs. We also have a pet peace of mind program, which helps families or helps patients stay with their pets. So you think about you might not be able to take care of your pet the way you used to when you have an illness. So we will help them with food, litter, things they need to care for their pet, help facilitate maybe a mobile veterinary doctor, maybe a mobile groomer come out and take care of the pet. We recently had someone who needed assistance boarding their animal so they could go to the hospital. Otherwise, that animal would have had nowhere to go. So we were able to do that, which was a big relief for them. So that's one of our services that always has a good outcome. Also, I can remember when I was in hospice several years back, we had a family who the wife was in a nursing home. The husband was really ill and living in an ALF. And right before she died, we were able to move them to the same room so they could live together in their final hours. And that was really touching to watch.
Yeah, that's a great story, being in that position. And the pets, a lot of us have pets, and it's like another member of the family, with the animals there. So, you think about, how do these situations come up, right? And then, there's a lot of seniors in Florida. I think we're the number one state for retirees. So when you think about all those different scenarios that play out, that's where Gulfside Healthcare Services can come into play. Can come in and help those families through those transitioning times, and helping in a lot of different ways that we're finding out as we've had several show interviews here. We're talking with Gulfside Healthcare Services here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. Gulfside.org is the website. And yeah, great stories. I loved also when we had the chaplain on the show. What was his name again? Great guy.
Chaplain Frank.
Yeah, he had some interesting stories, and he said, that's an interesting time. That very, he's praying with people on their last, few minutes of life, and he said he had some pretty powerful stories there when he was talking about that.
He did.
Yeah. So when we're looking at veterans community engagement. So talking about veterans today as well, what's a good call to action maybe for the listeners out there, somebody listening to our radio, TV show? What do we want? What are we looking to do with the community? Want to have volunteers?
Definitely volunteers who understand the needs of the veterans and a basic awareness of, what are the needs, the unique needs that a veteran may have.
Yeah, that's important. So volunteering their time, donating money in some cases, because you guys are a nonprofit, is that right?
Yes, we are a nonprofit, so our donations go directly to the program where the donor wants them to. So if they wanted to just donate to the Veterans Program, they could do that, or just directly to the Pet Peace of Mind program, the funding would go directly there. Yeah,
that's important. And I think last week's show also, we had one of the representatives from Gulfside, I forgot if it was Linda or who mentioned that, but there's a lot of assisted living facilities in Pinellas County. I think it's one of the highest per capita in the state as far as assisted living facilities.
Wow.
And it's interesting because there's the aging demographic. So we look at the aging demographic, and then that also moves from having my real estate background to affordable housing. So for affordable housing from a senior perspective to middle age or even up and coming younger generations, affordable housing is another issue in Pinellas County. There's limited amount of dirt. There's not many more planet Earth being made. And that especially in that waterfront area. With the mayor said earlier in the show with Tarpon Springs having the largest per capita in terms of waterfront properties. So you think about assisted living facilities, and I've had that happen in real estate where I've had a developer that wanted to build an assisted living facility, and the communities end up saying, no, not in our backyard. We don't want it here. But my counter to that argument is like, well, okay, where do we put them then?
Right.
We have to have a place for the seniors to age And a lot of times, of course, you guys are helping them in their home. So what's another key point with the home healthcare? I think that's just amazing to be able to go into someone's help, and they're going to be more comfortable in their house, right?
Right. And their house is wherever they live. So we also see home health patients in their assisted living facilities as well.
Okay.
So we provide the care wherever that patient resides, which is a good point to remember. All you would have to do is give us a ring or check out our website, www.gulfside.org, and find out more information on there.
Awesome. All right. Well, hey, another great show here today. Thanks so much, Rachel. We appreciate you coming in, Director of Staff Education, Patient Care Volunteers.
Thank you.
And Lindsay Cole, Director of Clinical Services. Thanks again for coming in. And we want all of our listeners out there to think about this show as the hub of your financial, your business, your health wheel. All of those spokes extending out on that wheel, representing another one of our expert contributors, 80-plus show categories of contributor advice. So think of us as your super connector. Okay. We want to connect you with all these different areas of attorneys, CPAs, financial advisors, home inspectors, solar companies, all types of different companies that are associated with the show. And for us as the quarterback, me as the quarterback on the team, I want to connect you with those folks. And you can check them all out on consumerqb.com. You can see links there to all of our expert contributors on the website. And we also want you to follow us online at Brandon Rhymes 1 on Instagram and Twitter, and the Consumer Quarterback Show page on Facebook. Link up, connect with us on LinkedIn. Follow our YouTube channel as well. Subscribe to our YouTube channel as well, Brandon Rhymes Realty. You'll see a lot of great videos there as well on that program. And I want to thank the mayor of Tarpon Springs for coming in today, Lindsay Rhymes as well. And also for all of our listeners and viewers, please go out there and consider committing a random act of kindness. Pack up some food or clothing, carry it with you to and from your commute, and be a force for good in the community. Do something kind for one another. And we'll see you next time right here on the Consumer Quarterback Show, consumerqb.com.
You've been listening to The Consumer Quarterback, Brandon Rhymes. Whether it's real estate, consumer, or financial advice, let Brandon call your next play. Contact Brandon Rhymes at 813-670-7372. That's 813-670-7372. Online at consumerqb.com. And join us next time for The Consumer Quarterback Show.